Get in, nerds. We are playing Victoria 3. So, couple of things. I've been asked to drop the music volume just a little bit. I just went ahead and dropped the desktop volume because I got the game volume at the volumes that I like, but I've dropped the gain from the desktop capture. So, if it sounds different and you like it, let me know. If it sounds not different, you feel free to sound off about that too. If you don't like it, feel free to let me know. All opinions are welcome. Right, we're making universities. I'm going after the Marina Kingdom. That's what the heck I'm doing. Or at least I'm going to see. So Zanzibar would fight. France would not. Britain would step in if I asked them to. Gaza, Buganda, Rwanda, Oman, Burundi. And Warsangali might step in and try to stop me. I'm not too worried about that, so I think that's where we're going to go. I've got the military forces, I've got the fleet needed. Fleet could be a little bit bigger, but I think realistically at this point in the game I have the ability to take them in a fight. If I can't, I will simply embiggen the fleet. Yeah, not too worried about anyone on that front. So let's do it. Let's go straight in. Was I going to do something related to my laws? Ooh, Polish mass immigration. Excellent. So, as you can tell, I'm, landowners are unhappy. Oh, no. Landowners stop being influential. Yes! Oh, that's very good. That's super duper good. I'm in a pretty legitimate government. Let me take a quick look at my laws. Right, I'm working on commercialized agriculture. Right, I'm trying to get around. As you can tell, this is a new run. This is a new week. That's been like 6 days. Right, I'm trying to get around my petition by going to commercialized agriculture, and then hopefully that will satisfy them. Hopefully they will be happier about that. Right, and I'm building up a bunch of universities. Alright, so Alright, Zanzibar size of the Marina Kingdom, that's fine with me. There's commercialized agriculture. So Zanzibar, I think I'm going to go ahead and add a war goal to Protectorate Zanzibar as well. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I cannot. Wait. No, I got an interest. What's going on here? Why can't I can conquer Zanzibar, but I don't want to conquer Zanzibar. Enforce treaty article? No. Humiliate Zanzibar? No. I'm gonna make them ban slavery. This'll be infamy? To make them ban slavery? That's absurd. Ridiculous. I can't do a ban slavery war goal against Marina Kingdom, can I? Well, I don't need to worry about that too much. That's a little bit of a shame. I would love to have the ability to run after Gaza and do the same thing. Belgium. A defensive pact, you say? Support independence. Interesting. Relations are bad. You're a protectorate. You know what? I will. And in fact, I'd be delighted to be better friends. I need to be a little bit more conscientious about my improving relations because I'm wandering on towards I'm infamous now. I've got just a little bit of infamy. Ethiopia and Indonesia interests deactivated. Interesting. Right. Yes, because last time all the interests popped off and Victoria 3 goobered itself and couldn't deal. And had to stop. How are we doing? We still got a gold reserve for a little bit longer. Ottoman Empire is going after Hanover, who's a minor at this point. Interesting. They're trying to take a protectorate there. Let's go ahead and... let's go ahead and mobilize the First Army. Where do we want to station these forces? Let's station them in the New England HQ. We'll put the fleet out to sea at least. Not sure which way they're going to go. I guess I'll find out. Should I queue in a little bit more fleet construction? I don't think so. Wow, cash flow is really... Oh, right, because I mobilized. Scandinavia sides with Hanover. Okay, interesting. Netherlands sides with Hanover, Luxembourg as well. Okay, hold on. Okay, Hanover's got a bunch of friends over here. Now, the Ottoman Empire does have the ability to pull... Oop, I don't need this starred. The ability to pull the Ottoman Empire in. Or, the Ottoman Empire has the ability to pull Britain in because they are allies. So we'll need to be... I'm going to leave that be for now because I don't think it's in my interests. Okay, there's Great Britain. And that might be me as well. Let's find out. I am not being necessarily pulled in, but I no longer have the ability to support Hanover. Interesting. Alright, well, it is what it is. It simply is what it is. Yeah, I think I'll be able to run roughshod over the Marina army without having a problem here. So I'm not... Ooh, come on. Austria sides with Hanover. Interesting. Things are okay. So the Europeans are having themselves a war. This will be interesting. There's our war popping off. Let's get to naval invading. Yes, so I've reduced efficiency. No, I'm not worried about it. So let's take a quick look at their armies just to make sure. Yeah, irregular infantry all the way through, and then one army, which is regular infantry. Alright, no problems here. How is the investment pool? Investment pool is doing great. Alright, so I can afford to go through a period of no government construction without harming my economic growth, which is just fine. Okay, so we ended up going this way. But the fleet is a little bit ahead of the army now, but the army's catching up. Are armies faster than fleets on the sea? I think it depends on their mobilization methods. I'm not mobilizing an additional army. I don't think it's needed. I'm not afraid of being naval invaded by the Marina Kingdom. Expensive government goods, glass, and steel. And man-o-wars, apparently. Well, them's the breaks. Alright, we're balanced on cash. We're taking on credit, but only a tiny amount. But we're swiftly moving in the direction of not being taking on credit. So that's good. Delicious water. Alright, and let's take a quick look at how this naval invasion is going to go. I feel like I can defeat this fleet absolutely no problem. I don't think that's going to be a factor one bit. Do I do coordinated interception? I don't think so, because I don't want to sacrifice... I don't want to take extra casualties. There we go. Won the fight, basically, immediately. Alright, so now we're progressing towards a battle, and I'm going to take a quick look at how that goes. Dahomey is damaging relations. That's interesting. Alright, and Great Britain has forced us into the war. Alright, so... that's interesting. Has that affected my liberty desire? It sure has. Britain, give me the noof. Alright. Do I really care about involving myself in this war? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't wish to fight for a stronger Ottoman. Austria's damaging relations. But our agreement. That's really unfortunate. I think that had to be broken because they're at war with us now, though. I think that's what happened. Alright, it looks like we are very solidly winning our war here. As you can see, landing progress is moving very fast. This is largely because Britain has a special power block bonus that gets us access to balloon reconnaissance. 80% extra battle occupation makes offensive work go ludicrously fast. So that's why that's happening. We finished our universities. We're now producing 124 innovation per week, with one unspent innovation of flow over. So we're moving quite fast now. Let's see. We're going to be grabbing military statistics. Do I finish knocking out the tier 3s and go directly for trench warfare? It's only 1883, but I do have the ability to. On the other hand, what's in production? Still got quite a few tier 3s in production. Pump jacks is good. That's going to spread to me, though. Let's snag electrification. Shift work is always nice. Since we're going to have a large economy, we'll grab vacuum canning and aniline. And then hopefully, tech spread will cover these two. If not, we'll put them in. And then we'll start bashing away at the tier 4s. Do I? Actually, no. I'm going to cancel aniline. I am going to grab these three, and then I'm going to these two, and then I'm going to circle these three, and then I'm going to circle back to military. I'm going to knock out the entire rest of the tier 3 military stuff, and then snag trenchworks, wargaming, and then bolt action rifle to automatic machine gun. And then after that, very cool. Ooh, more gold mines, wonderful. After that, we'll snag telephone and the radio, and then electrical capacitors and electric railways. I know that's planning very far ahead, but I'm feeling feisty. Oil. The discovery of oil in Saskatchewan is causing people to flock to the state, hoping to find jobs in this booming industry. Gold, silver, diamonds, for what? Trinkets and finery for the gentry. Glamour to hide that their time is past. Listen, my friend, nostalgia may be gilded, but the future runs on oil. Encourage this trend, oil is the future. Extra 100% bonus to migration attraction, 20% increase to oil industry employee mortality, -1 to oil industry standard of living, oil industry employee standard of living, plus 50% to needed oil industry employees, but plus 20% increase to oil extractors throughput. Or progress is best tempered with caution. Only 25% increase to oil employees required, only 10% increase to extractors throughput, only a 50% increase to migration attraction, but no penalties to oil industry employee standard of living and mortality. So those are options 1 and 2. Options 3 and 4 are just stop showing me this event and pick this option always. I'm going to pick the 4th one. Caution is always wise, no matter the time or place. I am playing as Canada. I think it's just a no-brainer that I don't want a lot of extra mortality. I think that's just sensible. I don't want to simply see my people dying over oil nonsense when I could easily avoid it. Tata was exiled from India. That's really curious. Ooh, does this mean I have the ability to get this army home? I don't. Why not? Am I not in a war on the same side as... Because I don't have any units. Okay, hold on. Hold on. I can finagle this. I can use this war to my advantage in a stupid and weird way. Alright, let's grab 1st Canadian Army and bring them back to Canada. We'll bring the fleet back as well. No reason not to. I shouldn't need to also win my war against Zanzibar because I don't have any ability to. Because they're not. There are no war goals against them. Alright, so once these units hire... Alright, we have the ability to bring the 2nd Canadian Army home. After many years in exile, Honoré Meloche is returning to Canada. And that's a protectorate. Let's go ahead and start improving relations. Music to my ears. A well-acclaimed troupe of wandering artists has arrived at northern Colombia, followed by hundreds of requests about our generous government funding one of their concerts. Okay, so their lyrics. No, you wouldn't understand it. Only the saddest and deepest souls are able to dive into their hearts, wide open before us through those piano notes. Their songs talk about solitude, incomprehension, the lack of a serene place to retreat to. They truly capture the sorrows of a teenage soul. How would you understand it? Fund them. Costs a pile of money, extra prestige. Or they sound not so great. Reduce prestige, unhappy intelligentsia. I'm going to spend the money, my nerds. I think it just makes sense. Let's go ahead and go after some targets of opportunity. We'll go after Guyana in this other war that we've now been dragooned into. Business of legislation. Increased sightings of British Union Party members socializing with lawmakers at restaurants and entertainment establishments are raising concerns about lobbyist conduct. A lobbyist sends a drink to a politician and pats him on the back. Liquid amber swirls in their tumblers. Jovially he tells him, "Excellent. You are among friends here at the British Union Party. Now that matters about Great Britain have been discussed, let us set aside this talk of business for the rest of the evening. This indulgent behavior should not be tolerated. Weaker petite bourgeoisie extra legitimacy, or the facts do not call for any action to intervene. British Union Party increases in appeasement by 1. I'm going to go with the first one. I love getting myself a little extra legitimacy, and that actually puts me in a legitimate government, which I'm pretty jazzed about. I'm a hair short on bureaucracy. So let's take a quick look. Let's press the button that freezes the game, and then we'll see what our situation is like in terms of tax capacity. We're actually short in Quebec, so that makes sense. We're a little bit short in Ontario. We're close to being short in Ontario, and we'll be close to being short in Quebec once we build this government sector. So let's just go ahead and build 3 government sectors. Been a lot of construction in those 2 states. I'm feeling pretty good about things. As standards of living go up, literacy has actually been increasing, so that is rock solid. Alright, and we've nearly taken Guyana. I think next we're going to go after the front in the Caribbean. Just grab that one tiny island held by the Dutch. Wherever it is. There we go. Oh, Netherlands bailed out of the war. Oh, would you look at that. Hold on. We're going to this front? Why? What's going on there? France is in a war with the Netherlands and I'm involved? Diplomatic play in front. Oh no. Come on. Come on. Alright. Well, let's again, we'll handle, or there's nothing to handle there. The Kuban front. Genuinely, I didn't know that that Russia was involved in this thing. Okay, the Kuban front is down here. All right, we're bringing the lads home. We're bringing the lads home. Now, our recently mobilized army, our recently raised army, Serbian massacration. Our recently raised army needs. Perhaps we'll use this second army as a defensive force for now. No, I kind of want it to be equal to the others. I feel certain I can afford it as well. I've got the cash. My investment pool is doing rock solid. I can afford it. Alright, let's put a few more battalions in Alberta and Saskatchewan. We're going to need a few more, so we'll throw them in Manitoba, the capital. Let's put a little bit more artillery in Ontario and Quebec. And we'll put a little bit more cavalry in northern Colombia. And that'll be nice. And do I demobilize this army? I don't think so, because I've got I'm potentially involved here. Oh, Britain declared neutrality. Interesting. Don't have the ability to support France because I'm already at war with Hanover on the same side as Prussia. Ah, this is a unify Germany war. Well, that's unfortunate because I really don't want to see Germany unified because I don't want to see Prussia become any stronger because they're going to be against me when the war happens. When my war for independence against the British happens. Okay, so what do we have left over here? The Scandinavians have an enforced investment rights war goal against Tunis. The Russia want to conquer Circassia. And the Ottoman Empire wants to return Ezak Erdeli from Hungary. They want to transfer the Baltic governorates from Russia. They want to steal Russian Dobruja from Russia. That's here. And they want to return Del Erdeli. I don't know. Oh, northern and southern Transylvania. That's what these are. Got it. Got it. I've got it figured out. All right, so that's likely to be... Ooh, pump jacks. Wonderful. So that's likely to be a... Ooh, civilizing mission. Very cool. So that's likely to come pretty soon. Ottoman Empire does have war support protection. Their war support is going down. Britain has war support protection as well because Circassia is a British subject. So yeah, but I think this is likely to go the way the Ottomans want. Although I guess force comparison here is weak. Anyway, we'll see. Do I demobilize this army? I'm strongly tempted to. I think what if I simply did not pay for an additional army? What if I simply did not participate? What if I said, I'm sorry, Great Britain, it seems that you are at war. I am not at war. I am merely about. Ah, I see. This is interesting. So Prussia is in a separate war with Austria-Hungary, and that's making this a front that we can support as well somehow. So that's quite interesting. Oh, right, because Prussia's trying to take over all of this Garbo. And then France is theoretically pushing against them, but I don't know exactly how that's going. Now, in terms of our economy, we have the 5th largest economy in the world, which is pretty cool. What can we do? What can we do to increase our economic everythings? Cultivate fine art. Continue to build up glass. Now, I think we've hit the point... Hand crank machine gun. Beautiful. I think we've hit the point... Yes, we've hit the point where porcelain has become cheap. So, it's not necessarily going to be as efficient for us to... Oh, let's go to automatic irrigation for our plantations. Ooh, I could go to lectures. Extra radicals and loyalists from political movements increase building wage target. Increase standard of living for slaves, although that's not a factor. Let's do it. Molds I'm still good on. What the sulfur mine? Why do I have so many? Is this some kind of conspiracy? Why do I have so many sulfur mines? How? How do I have so many sulfur mines? Am I quietly... Hold on. I'm outputting 4.42k sulfur. How much of this economy's sulfur am I supplying? 2/3. Okay. That's pretty interesting, if I do say so myself. Senegalese slave revolts. Well, that's pretty based. It is against the French, though, so I'm gonna unfortunately have to leave that be. I could risk myself some infamy by expelling British diplomats. Reduced leverage, too. Interesting. I gotta think about this, because I gotta think about if I want to pull this trigger. Undoubtedly, my economy is going to take a major hit as soon as I do. Is Russia still feeling domineering towards me? They are. Maybe I'll leave it. I forgot to put up a poll. I'll put up a poll as soon as we're done here. That's what I'll do. Should I stay in the Empire or should I get independent poll? That'll be nice. Finland is in default. No one has invaded Scandinavia, however. You guys seem ill-equipped to complete this war. Only Russia is still dealing with it. Alright, Austria's on the other side. And again, I have a visual to this war. Oh no, I think I always have visibility to wars. I'm just confusing it because I'm also separately in this other war. Anyway, that'll go as it goes. I don't need to concern myself with events in Russia. So, let's figure out what we want for our market. If I'm going to fight the British, I'm going to need to have more native military buildings. Oh, I pressed the button that slows the game down. We'll put one in Ottawa and one in... Where's our other one? It's in southern Colombia. Okay. Well, again, I don't need to fight the British. Let's increase the size of our munitions plants. Can never go wrong selling munitions to the Brits. Yeah, munitions are moderately expensive, although we are in the middle of a war at this time. Ironclads are also expensive. Am I producing exclusively ironclads? I am. So I could increase the number of ironclads I'm building as well. I'm producing those chiefly in Quebec. Could start a new military shipyard in northern Colombia. I think that's what I'll do. Right, and the whole glass situation. I think building up glassworks in the Maritimes is the right call. A lot of those are still owned by the Canadian government. Ones in Quebec are also moderately profitable. If we go to ceramics, we'll be less profitable, but only by a little bit. This is a privatization indicator. We'll set them all to privatize. That's no problem. Yeah, let's build 5 levels in Quebec and 5 levels in the Maritimes. We're really building up the Maritimes in terms of these glassworks. Now, I want to invest a little bit more in the center of the country. Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and maybe the north as well. So what are good things to build here? Alberta... Yeah, we got a lot of labor available in at least in Alberta and Saskatchewan. Manitoba, a little bit less so, although Manitoba it does have a little bit more industry. Interestingly, our furniture manufactories are not as profitable as I should like. It would be more so if we reduced labor-saving methods. But let's see what happens when they hire. Once they're hiring. They were at 15.2 before. They're going up in cash flow, that's good. They're hiring more, that's also good. 17.6. Okay, 17.6 is still good. $17.5. Interventionism, micromanage your economy. Alright, I think that's still right. We've got... I saw coal being pretty expensive. Yeah, I can definitely develop my coal sources. So... Though, interestingly, these coal mines are having a hard time hiring because they're short on transport. I've probably got transport shortages in a lot of areas. So let's take a quick look at where transport is in the market as a whole. And then we'll figure out where we need to build up. So, Yeah. Got a lot of places where transport is expensive. No transport production in Oregon and Idaho. That's a simple fix. I'll build them up. Um, Northwest Territory, same deal. Nunavut, same deal. All right, easy peasy. Very high transport costs in a lot of other areas as well. So we'll just go state by state. Nunavut and the Northern Territory, the Northwest Territory, shouldn't need more than one level each. Now, Northern Columbia, where is transport? Just needs about one more level worth in that railway, so we'll build up there. Southern Columbia, they're doing fine. Alberta could definitely use one more level. Saskatchewan could use 2 more levels, it looks like. Manitoba, 1 more level should do. Ontario, wow, Ontario actually needs quite a few more levels. Let's build 4. Quebec, wow, Quebec needs a huge increase in transport infrastructure. Let's go ahead and build 9 levels of railways there. And then the Maritimes need just a couple, just 1 more level. That should be fine. That should produce enough. And then we'll do Idaho and Oregon. They'll just get their first level and they'll be good to go. And then what'll happen is, as we develop these railway supplies, we will... Oh, I've got pump jacks, so I can build oil rigs. How's oil doing in our market? What I'll do is I'll enable methods that use that transport. So I've got oil rigs now. Saskatchewan, I want to build up some logging camps and some oil rigs, just so that we're utilizing those resources and provide a little bit of additional urbanization here. That should get us up past... 10 levels of each should get us up past 3. Alberta, we're only at 2. And Manitoba, we're at 6. So Manitoba, we're good to go. Because I still have the urbanized Canada entry, which we're rapidly progressing towards. 41.6, so that's just under half. Have I gotten there in Northern Columbia? I sure have. So Alberta and Manitoba and Saskatchewan are the next urbanization targets. Now, Alberta, I think a few levels of logging and a few levels of furniture manufactories. Where's furniture manufactories? Am I dumb? Here we go. I am dumb. Maybe same deal in Saskatchewan, although we got coal here. We don't have iron, but motor industries and steel mills would be good items to have here. Although we're building a lot in Saskatchewan. What about Alberta? Maybe some paper. Well, paper's not ideal. Maybe food industries. No iron here, unfortunately. Not a lot of great throughput synergies here for that. Could do steel and tooling, though. Yeah, let's do a little bit of steel and a little bit of tooling. And that'll be just fine. Just quickly check the state of the world, make sure I'm not being invaded. So this is going to be a huge increase in our level of industrialization. It's going to cost the government a barrel full of money. But that's okay. I think this might be the time to increase the size of my construction sector. Because here's the thing. I got a lot of stuff I built. And the private sector is building some things. But the private sector is the investment pool is rapidly increasing in funding much fast. They're increasing much faster than they're spending down when I'm not building. So I think actually what we're going to do is we're going to increase the size of the construction industry. Build 1 more level in the Maritimes, 1 more in Manitoba, one more in Oregon, and one more in Quebec. And I'm going to throw all of those at the top of the queue right now. And that is going to get us really rolling. Ooh, floating harbor. Excellent. Mass scale trading for trade centers. Heck yes. Gimme all that trade. Do it. Dealing in arms. The establishment of munitions plants in Ontario ensures an abundant supply of ammunition for Canada. I resent the term arms dealer. It implies that I am no more than a cynical profiteer, benefiting from the suffering of my fellow man. Nothing could be further from the truth. What I do guarantees peace and security, not only in Canada, but throughout the civilized world. If you want peace, prepare for war. See what pacem para bellum. Austria is no longer in a war with me, so I'm going to improve relations with them, and maybe I still can't demand. What are you doing now? Oh, they're right. We're that's right. We're still in a war with the Russians. How is my diplomatic situation? I've got gains. Okay, minus 0.25 from change rate scaling, so that means my baseline is pretty high. I'm getting a bunch from various support and dependents, which is good. They're doing a lot to improve relations with me. I think maybe this is my moment to boot their diplomats. Again, this gives me infamy, but I'm, you know, I'm happy with the way things are. I don't need to reduce relations too much more. We're co-belligerents right now, so I can't go after them. I know I said I was going to do a freaking, I said I was going to do a poll, but maybe I'm not. Boiler explosion. A factory in Ontario has been rocked by a tremendous boiler explosion, with dozens dead or injured. The story of this tragedy has quickly become a national event. The scalding steam rushed out of the burst boiler into the faces of the men on the shop floor. If the blast itself or the flying debris didn't get them, then the steam surely did. These events are simply the price of progress. Stronger industrialists and happier, but radicalization in the lower stratum. Workers should not be exploited and forced into such conditions. More radical upper stratum pops, trade unions stronger and happier. Or machines are dangerous, industry itself is a cancer. More radicalized middle stratum pops, but rural folk stronger and happier. I'm going to do the first one. You'll recognize this is the same as the, as that event with the, as with the mine, collapse. Actually lost quite a few loyalists there, but that's okay. Government's still pretty highly legitimate. And we got commercialized agriculture, we got freedom of consciousness, or freedom of conscience. Could go to censorship, I don't wish to do that. Okay, cash flow is pretty tough. Investment pool still is increasing in size pretty substantially, though, even as we're building. Cherokee National Awakening. Well, that's fun. Excellent. I'm delighted to hear that. Austria. Hey, remember when you were guaranteeing my independence? How about you do that again? Beautiful. Gosh, this really is a global war. You're still protective towards me. I'm going to stop damaging relations right now. I think I'm pretty happy with where we are at neutral. I can't declare on them because we're co-belligerents in a war. Which is fine. I'm not in a rush on that front. And if I declare this war, I'll have the United States, I'll have France, and I'll have Austria. And hopefully that'll be enough. I don't have the ability to improve relations with Russia right now. Hamburg backs down. Love to see it. I don't know why the United States wants a protectorate over Hamburg, but they surely do. And that is simply their business. That's their business. It's purely Hamburger business. Organization of the First Fleet. Ah, because I've lost an admiral. Alright. So let's see. We got Dockyard Organizer and Romantic. He's a Republican. Dockyard Organizer and Charismatic. He's a Market Liberal. We'll take that guy. And we'll give him a little promotion. I think perhaps, in order to make happen what I wish to happen, I will need to expand the size of my fleet. Let's build another 5 levels of ironclads in the Maritimes, and another 5 levels of, another 5 levels of monitors in the Maritimes, another 5 levels of ironclads in northern Colombia. And the idea simply is to have a 35-sized fleet that can carry any of my armies. And I can do that at the end of my big industrial increase because, hey, I'm living well. Now, I think one thing I'm going to need to do to prepare for this war is ensure my trade centers are large enough to be able to function, particularly here in the Maritimes. We're going to need to do a large increase in the size of the trade sector because we're going to need to be able to sell and buy all the things we need in order to continue to function as an economy. Once we're free of the British, market. Alright, so the Ottoman Empire is now losing war support. And the British do have war support protection, the Ottomans do not. Interesting. So we'll see how things go. I don't know why none of y'all have invaded Russia up here where their capital is, but Britain clearly thinks they can win this war, but they won't be able to get far without the Ottomans because the Ottomans are providing this front. Although, they've got a lot of weeks before they run out, so maybe the answer is they will simply take over all of Russia. Now, they're causing quite a bit of devastation as well to the Russian territory that they're holding. That's pretty common. But it gets more extreme as the game goes on. We are going to be eating into our gold reserves pretty significantly as part of this this ambitious construction plan that I've laid out. Maybe I cut... Maybe I cut the logging and oil development in Saskatchewan by half. And I'll cut the heavy industrial development by 40%. In Saskatchewan. Again, not necessarily a... I do need all these railways, though. I need that for stuff and things. Maybe I change... No, I like the Greener Grasses campaign in northern Colombia. I think that's good. We've got a lot of good potential here. Alright, so now we're just chilling. I can support more declared interests. I've learned my lesson. I'm going to declare them one at a time. me see. Alright, so we're 50% of the way towards the Ottoman Empire bailing out of the war. I think these fronts will be... Or no, these fronts will not be retained. This occupation should be retained, but this will not. This will not, because this is Moldavian occupation. And then this is Kabul occupation, and Kabul is a subject to the British. Alright, so that will be retained. Now somehow, Prussia is actually... Okay, yes, Prussia's losing, and that makes sense. Alright, which is fine. So there's my Caribbean interest activated. Let's go ahead and grab an interest in Mexico and Central America. I'm risking it a little bit, but I'm hoping to be rewarded with receipt of the biscuit. Population growth continues to be rock solid. I'm very pleased about that. Now, I could build up institutions a little bit further. I could get a little bit more healthcare. I could get a little bit more home affairs. I would be able to afford... I will be able to afford it once the British are out the war. Or once I'm out of the British Empire. Because here's the thing. I'm donating 80k to the British per week. It's so much. It just doesn't make economic sense to stay there. Alright. Get rid of those. Very good. So Russia gave up just to Bruges. Oh no, they also gave them the gave the Ottomans the United Baltic provinces. Cool. So, do we go into it? If we demand independence, what does it look like? We have India, Canada, USA, Austria, Belgium on our side. The enemy side is just Britain and all of her subjects. Ottomans are going to align with them. The Prussians are not going to get involved. That's good. Before we do this, Australia, you're happy as a colony. Cape Colony, you're happy as a colony. Alright, it's time. Alright. Now, I think I'm going to mobilize everybody. Now, that puts me in my own... I'm still in the British market for now. I'm going to go after the Newf. That's the first thing. And do I add a war goal to seize Newfoundland? I'm going to return war goal for 2.4 infamy. Count me in. Do I add this to the primary? I think yes. Now, I think I'm going to add all of this stuff. I'm going to add the naval bases to the top of the queue, because I'm dumb and wasn't thinking about it. That's all of those. And then the trade centers. Let's get the ones where I'm just doing 2 at the top of the queue. And then 3 of each of the others. I kind of jumped my own gun a little bit. But that's okay. So I'm going to be handling my front. We're going to see how things look in other areas. Okay, Congo front. And that's the situation sorted with Prussia. Does that make Prussia more likely to step in? It does, unfortunately. But that's okay. That's okay. I think between France and Austria, we can handle Prussia. Alright, is there anyone else I can pull in? Doesn't look like it. Potentially the Danes, but they're not likely to be much of anything. And I've added Newfoundland to the primary war goals. Now if they yield... If the British yield... Well, let's leave things as they are for now. There's Prussia in it. Alright, so that puts two fronts in the middle of... That puts the Ottomans in it. Alright. Here we're damaging relations. That is what it is. I saw the undependent front indicator, the East Galicia front. That's fine. Austria is fully capable of handling that. I think our side's got this. We can get independence for me, India, and Belgium, and I think if we successfully do that, that's going to crack the British Empire right in half. Trade centers are being built at a rapid pace. I gotta go at least to the end of the naval bases before I get rolling. A dangerous business. The efficiency of our whaling stations in northern Colombia has proved to have a dangerous counterpart, and death has become common to almost every voyage. It is a high price to pay, but the profit is equally high. The body of the whale lies as wide as the sky. It has been emptied, and the barrels of oil are stained with blood. A voice resounds throughout the wharf. We lost a dozen men, and then he starts to list them in their towns. A few of them are from the capital. One of them has your brother's name. The oil shimmers, the liquid gold blood of a siren, luring men to their deaths. We need to ensure the safety of soldiers. Arthur Pennant, who's an admiral, I believe, gets increased popularity and reduced whaling industry employee mortality. Or, but it shines extra throughput. I'm just going to go with reduced mortality. I think that's sensible. And Denmark's in some kind of a war. Nationalist revolt in Holstein. Alright. So after this, what are our priorities? I think probably it's to assist on the global fronts, especially India. Although India looks like she's handling herself quite well. We might need to bolster Austria to keep them in the war. But I don't think Prussia has any dogs in this race. I might naval invade Britain. I might simply naval it. Oh, well, I mean that's fine. You're already in the war. Oh no, India is having a civil war at the same time. Ooh, that's not great. That might just goober this whole thing, but it might auto-independence them, which would be extremely funny. Alright, bunch of war goals are being added now. Britain wants to steal a bunch of subjects from... from France. Are they adding any in the United States? Looks like no. And they want to steal the West Indies. Alright, so... Our armies... looking good. This army needs another general. Let's go with a cool stalwart defender and a protectionist, or a liberal defensive strategist and pious. Let's go with defensive strategist and pious. Give him a little promotion as well. Do I put an army down there? I think the answer might be yes. Force comparison's looking good on the Newfoundland front. But it could turn bad at any time. Do I mobilize conscripts? Probably yes. But I don't think I need to yet. The enemy's got more troops coming in, so I'm gonna stay where I'm at here. So escalation has been paused for a little bit, but it will get started again soon. And no countries available for swaying. I haven't added any war goals against Prussia or the Ottoman Empire, so as soon as those countries are out of the war, they'll be out of the war. This force comparison's looking pretty good. But I could raise my conscripts. I'm going to raise my conscripts. I probably should have done this sooner, but I still think it's sensible. Wow, actually, I've got a lot of conscripts able to be raised here, so I'm good with. I'm happy with that. There's aniline. That's good. Where are we with tech? We're doing electrical generation. And there's the war with Great Britain. So, I am short on rubber and dyes. That's not ideal. Madagascar to the rescue. Can't build here. Because not enough arable land. Interesting. Nevertheless, you should have some rubber capacity, right? They don't. Has it not been discovered yet? They used to. Alright, let's take a look at my market. Most things I should be able to get from abroad. That's why I'm building all these trade centers. Silk is a problem. Let's... Oh, I have a better training method available. That was smart. All my clothes are... I forgot to... Oh, I'm so good at video games. I don't have any local light industry producing clothes. So, you know, that's a little rough. I got a fruit shortage. This is mostly being consumed... It's being consumed entirely by pops. Alright, so I don't need to worry about that too much. I have a local liquor shortage. That's fine. Our food industries can produce the necessary liquor. And in fact... Now I've got a grocery shortage. Cool. Let's go ahead and... Right. That's already active. What else can I do for this? Yeah, I'm bringing in a lot of luxury clothes from abroad and art as well. That's okay. That's okay. These are just the growing pains of a new state. Okay, we're building up the necessary trade capacity to handle this. Paper mills and glassworks. Alright, so... Do I take the time to stop and construct synthetic industries? I think I actually do. So these are going to input... What do you input? I'm not sure. We'll throw these in at the top. At least for now. No, I need them after the naval bases. Sugar. We do have some sugar plantations. Where are they located? They're in Madagascar. Okay. I didn't prepare for this as much as I should have. But that's okay. That's okay. Artillery, I do need to actually deal with really, really rapidly. So, let's get my artillery plants. Where are my artillery plants? They're all in Manitoba. They are hiring. So that should sort itself as time goes by. I'll be careful if it doesn't. Maybe we reduce needed labor. Yeah, we do. We'll do the same with our other arms industries. And we're a little short on dope. Alright, that shouldn't be too big of a deal. We're short on explosives. That's a real shock. I thought I had more than sufficient explosives to handle all the stuff I needed to handle. Let's take a quick... Actually... As painful as it is, I need to build up these industries. So, we'll go ahead and we'll build them. I'm going to leave a few of these things that are almost done at the top of the queue. We'll throw the trade centers back at the bottom. And we'll get those explosives factories rolling. Fruit, we're going to have to live without. Rubber, we're going to have to live without. I think I can just... Let me take a quick look at rubber. All that's going into tooling workshops. I can simply not need them. Steel tools, ahoy. Glassworks, let's take a quick look at where we are with glass. Glass is still expensive. Porcelain is cheap. We'll leave trade policy where it is for now. Anything that's... Okay. I'm going to throw an import subvention onto opium, because we don't produce any of that in our country. Meat, I'm going to, at the very least, remove the import tariff. I know we have the ability to produce that ourselves. Dyes, I'm going to remove the import tariff and throw in an import subvention. Groceries, I'm going to throw, as much as it hurts, I'm going to throw an import subvention in there. Fruit, I'm actually going to do the same. This is going to have the government paying through the nose for a lot of this stuff, but that's okay. That's okay. These things happen. We are fighting against the British over here, and we are winning. Well, we're fighting the Prussians mostly. We're also fighting the British, and we are winning. Oh, they got another army coming up here. USA, help! USA! USA, help! Mobilize, get all your dudes together. Get all your dudes together. Don't you want to counter British influence and whatnot? Don't you want to counter British influence and also whatnot? Beautiful. Alright, nailed it. So, Second Army. So that's the Noof closed out. Second Army, we're heading to the Caribbean to secure that front. Now, what else does Britain desire here? So they're going to be doing a lot of work in Africa. France is permanently in this thing. Austria isn't permanently in this thing. But the Ottoman also isn't permanently in this thing. Does Britain have war support protection? They do not. So, at this stage, I think I send an army to India to focus on that situation and help make sure that things go okay in India. And maybe, if the time comes... Alright, northern Colombia, we've got a naval invasion. That's okay. We can put the first army there to deal with that. I wonder if putting two armies outside the nation is a mistake. I think the army that I've got going to the Caribbean will be done soon. Very, very soon, in fact. Prussia's damaging relations, I don't give a flying one about that. They're getting their snot beat out of them by the French. So, bully for me. No, I think I need the third army in the east to protect against naval invasions. I think I'll send the second army to India once that's done. Maybe I'll send the second army back to Canada. Alright. Well, the British are winning against the Americans on the ocean, but their naval invasion is not going well at all, which is good for me. Now, I am spending barrels full of cash at this point. It's not ideal. Investment pool is rapidly increasing in size, but I need the explosives. USA colon... What? What happened? They bought only a tiny slice of the Russian-American company? That's bizarre. Oh man, what a weird situation. What a curious and strange situation. Now, I surely have war support protection. I do not. So, I need to bash away at the British. Greece, you want trade privileges. and trade privileges, and to give me money. Sure. I think the way I do this is I reduce... Okay. Anti-Russian League demands action. The Anti-Russian League has requested that we establish an embargo against Russia. Successfully acting on the proposal will gain our government significant goodwill from the lobby. And to those who would refuse and prefer preserving the status quo, there was no hesitation. His response sounded well rehearsed because it was. This was a proactive man, one who spent hours pacing his chambers and anticipating attacks to come. My reply would be that we should never have allowed them to become so close to us in the first place. A friendship built upon deceit is nothing at all, and the goodwill gained from it, illusory. I'm going to say we'll look into this. We'll probably do it just as soon as the war's over. So, alright. That front is handled. So let's go ahead and naval invade Britain. There's already people trying to naval invade the home counties. So we'll come in the Highlands. And, keep that rolling. You can invade from there. Interesting. Empty pockets. A series of perceived poor decisions by the animist rights movement has led to a notable decrease in its ability to raise money. Numerous wealthy sympathizers have quietly halted their support for the movement in its current form. We do not wish to appear partisan. Always the same refrain. The organizer paced back and forth within his tiny office, fists clenched until it felt as if his knuckles were about to burst through his skin. Occasionally, he stole a glance at the unopened envelopes on his desk, all of which he knew would repeat a variation of the same. Partisan. What did it mean? That they cared for something? That they chose to do something beyond count the money in their vaults? He had something important to do, something which would improve society itself. They had a chance to do the same. In that light, how could partisanship possibly be bad? Perhaps it will find an alternative source of funds? 2% of pops in Manitoba become more loyalist, animist rights movement gets weaker. Or everything dies in the end so faster than others, animist rights movement gets much weaker. Our animist rights movement is completely depowered at this point. I'm just going to do the first one, get those free loyalists. My situation is a little dire. My financial situation is a little dire. I could increase my military wages in order to make myself better able to fight this war. I think the no, we'll put the synthetics plants first. Liberia improving relations. Excellent. I'm paying a lot in interest right now, and I'm paying a ton in subventions. Hold on. I can't be paying this much in subventions. That's crazy. It's mostly for the opium. Eli Thompson, exiled from the United States, an abolitionist. Well, it is what it is. Alright. The British have launched their naval invasion. Let's put our troops in the area. I am spending a huge pile on construction goods, so I will be spending a lot less soon. We are winning the naval side of our naval invasion. The Journal of Philosophical Studies. Members of the philosophy department for the University of Northern Columbia have signed a formal petition for governmental funding of their next project, a scientific journal. With the foundation of our philosophical studies, we welcome a new era in the scrutiny of the mind, an era of rigorous research and serious experimentation, an era of scientific collaboration among our foreign colleagues, a safe haven in which all investigations pertaining to this topic can be shared. We have no resources for this. 5% of academics pops in Northern Columbia become more radical. Or fund this journal. It costs $6,000 per week. We get extra prestige and extra progress in psychoanalytics. I'm going to go with the second one, amusingly enough, even though I am even right now in the process of complaining about how I don't have any money, because I need it. Why is all of this, why is there so much occupation? Was my army, well, I'm winning now, so that's what matters. I just got electrical generation. I'm not going to build any power plants at the moment. I don't think I can afford to. And we've got a front. It's not looking great. Accidental good press for Russia. Private correspondence exchanged by members of the Anti-Russian League have been published in pamphlets. The letters praise Russia, contrary to the intentions of the trade unions. Membership frustration brews at the gathering of all the anti-Russian League members. Many are quick to blame the trade unions for this mishap with a series of pamphlets distributed without their sanction. One member challenges the fervor of the group. Yes, this was not our intention, but is this not one minor setback in our great undertaking? Good press for Russia is harmless. Appeasement -1 improves relations by 10. Or the trade unions should pull any remaining pamphlets. 5% of trade union member pops become more loyalist. I'm going to do the second one. I think that's just fine. France wants a treaty, trade privileges, and investment rights. France, what are you doing with your power block right now? That's my real question. Your power block. What are you doing with it? The United Front, internal trade, militarized industry, colonial offices. Let's negotiate. I don't want the investment part. Trade privileges, yes. Investment rights, no. Beautiful. Alright. So I am on this front. I've put... Unfortunately, our allies are having a hard time invading the south. My fleet is not growing at the speed I was really hoping it would, which is unfortunate. Low organization, why are you low? In organization, there's a shortage of engines. Really? My market is short on engines. I thought I was producing quite a bit of engines. Well, the private sector is producing more engines, so I'm not too worried about that. At least not in the medium term. Alright, that's this front handled. I think I'm going to take the first army and put them... I think we put them in Africa. Now, Britain is actually losing war support faster than we are now, which I'm very pleased about. And I'm hoping, if things go well, this naval invasion is going to fail. There's too many British troops here. Alright, Russia is bailed out of the war now. Kutch left the British Empire. Bhopal. Oh, here we go. So, these places are all in India. I'm going to take a look over there and see what happened in a second. So, yes, the East Indian Modernist Revolt is no longer in the British Empire. Let's be better friends. They're a great power now, which is delightful. I think they don't need to win to have independence. Okay, I've got a little bit of overflow in construction capacity, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the size of my motor industries, which are all in Quebec. Oh, you know what? The extra motor industries that are being built are not being built by the private sector. They're being built by me. They're in this queue, this monstrously large queue. East India left the British Empire. Alright, that's all those places doing that thing again. Another naval invasion. What the heck? That's so curious. Okay, we got one invasion in the Maritimes and one in Quebec, so we actually need 2 armies in these areas. This one has already... Okay, Ottoman Empire's out of the war now. Things are rapidly becoming more favorable for Canada. Unfortunately, our naval invasion has been repelled. I'm going to go ahead and grab our fleet and bring them back to home waters. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the size of the fleet by a little. Can I afford that? No, I can't. I simply need to work with the fleet I've got. Now this army can help defend French home territory from British invasion. Alright, and the Indians are successfully defending the rest of their front. Okay, Austria is fortunately bailed out of the war. But that's okay, right? How's France doing, though? France is holding. France is holding very, very productively. United States, not so much. But they have war support protection because the British are going for Liberia. And they're not currently holding Liberia, which I'm very pleased about. Alright. Let's get this army onto this front here. Right, we were winning on passive defense just due to size, but now we're winning on active defense. Russia sides with Greece in their war, that's fine. Is East India maintaining company rule? No, certainly not. They're a theocracy. They're a theocracy, but they've got the India. Yeah, they're Hindu, and they got Indian primary cultures. Okay, all right, so that's cool. And what is this? Portuguese-Canadian Treaty of Commerce and Navigation. You want to allow Canada to build in Portugal in exchange for trade privileges and a whole mess of tools. How's my tooling situation? That's really a lot of tools. What if I don't give you a whole mess of tools? And what if we do a defensive pact? And what if you also give me trade privileges? Dang, this is very good. Let's do it. I can get one more level of motor industries in here. Nope, most efficient way is to do it that way. Do I expand the fleet? It hurts. My situation, it hurts. I've got a bureaucracy shortage now. My petite bourgeoisie are no longer pleased. Can I do a little bit of, If I do colonial exploitation, will that make them happy? No, it will not. Well, unfortunately, I'm simply going to have to build up the government sectors. Let's go ahead and press the button that crashes the game. The button that freezes the game. I should call it the button that freezes the game. We're going to need one more level in Quebec. And then one each in Quebec and Ontario. And that's actually not going to get me the whole way there. Alright, we'll build up one more in Northern Colombia as well. And then we'll throw these at the top of the queue. I'm sorry this is going really, really slowly, but wars are hard to micromanage, and there's no other way to do them. I'm going to end up in a lot of debt here, is what's going to happen. My fleet is still increasing in size. Let's come back and try another naval invasion of Britain now that things are looking a little better. New neighbors, new grudges. A minority group of Zeckler people has recently settled in the state of Northern Colombia, seeking a better future. However, the local Anglo-Canadian elites are stirring up resentment, claiming the Zeckler newcomers will destroy the traditional way of life. They don't belong here. Our Anglo-Canadian customs, our way of life, they'll be lost if we let the Zeckler people settle, claimed a prominent landowner. His words echoed in the taverns and markets of Prince George. The newcomers, hopeful but weary, whisper of opportunity, but face closed doors and hostile stares. Interesting. So, the secular people must accept their lot. 20% of Anglo-Canadian and Franco-Canadian upper strata pops become more loyalist. 25% of secular pops become more radical and reduce acceptance by 5. Foster harmony between the peoples, which is 5% of all pops in Northern Colombia become more radical, and chances of their acceptance going up or down or up by a lot. Or the old Anglo-Canadian ways can continue to dominate our modern nation. 20% of Anglo and Franco-Canadian pops become more radical. Upper stratum pops become more radical. But secular pops improve in their acceptance by 20. Knowing this is temporary, I'm going to pick the first one. The radicalization is unfortunate, but it's, I think it's simply got to be that way. Senegal front is undefended. That's not ideal. I would love to be able to... I'm going to risk sending an army to deal with that. Hopefully this won't be a giant mistake. We're going to move this army to as close to here as we can get, as close to the North Sea as we can get it. And then we're going to try invading the Highlands a second time. Alright, this army is going to need to... Okay. Roll on back. Happily, naval invasions do take some time. I know that's been something that's been, against me at some points, but for me and others. North German mass immigration, cool. Force comparison's not so great, but somebody should be invading the home counties at the same time. Alright. Cash flow's doing a little bit better now that we've rebuilt our government sectors. Let's put government construction on pause and see how the money situation looks. No war goals. Okay, so the United Belgian States bailed out and stayed in the Empire. France remains strong. Alright. I think where's the cancel naval invasion button? Here's where it is. I'm gonna cancel this invasion. This seems like it's not going well. Alright, the fleet, that's fine if they stay there. This army seems to be exiled, which is unfortunate, but as soon as they get on the water, they'll be able to go as they wish. So we'll put them in France. The fleet will dock them in France as well. Again, I want to be doing this once the enemy has, once I've got allies doing their own naval invasions. How's this battle going? Alright, we're winning. Scandinavia, what are you doing? You're just trying to get my steel for free? Take on my debt, you goobers. Give me cold hard cash. Wow, the AI really does not give out cash anymore. Yeah, mutual trade privileges for an obligation. Let's do it. They declined. That's fine. My economy has taken a major hit. I'm gonna remove my export tariff on sulfur. I completely forgot about that. Gold in the Yukon. Excellent. Now that's some stuff that I should build up, but for the moment I can't afford to. Alright, we're going to try a naval invasion of the home counties once again. And we're going to see how it goes. Now, hopefully my allies in France and other places will support me in this. And if they can't, then it is what it is. Again, in Africa, all we need to do is keep the British away from Liberia. I think I'm going to station the 3rd Army in the Maritimes. Alright, force comparison's looking good. We're a little bit low on organization, which is a little bit rough. The Great Molasses Flood. A storage tank full to the brim with molasses intended for rum distillation has burst, flooding the streets of Bytown's commercial center, killing dozens and injuring hundreds of bystanders. The molasses, waist-deep, covered the streets and swirled and bubbled about the wreckage. Here and there a struggle to form. Whether it was animal or human being was impossible to tell. Only an upheaval, a thrashing about in the sticky mass, showed where any life was. Close the distilleries while the wreckage gets cleared, reduce food industry's building throughput. Or one tragedy does not stop progress, radicalizes a bunch of machinists, engineers, clerks, and shopkeepers. I have to go with the second, my nerds. I can't. I need those food industries rolling. We're in a war here. A war for Canadian independence. Oh my goodness, Honoré Meloche has died. That's okay. I had a replacement for him. Yes, I sure did. Alright, beautiful. Second Army continues to function. We are moving forward in our naval invasion. So that's good. Britain is losing more support at a reasonably high rate at this time. Not as high a rate as I should like, but it is what it is. There's shift work. Beautiful. The despot of St. Petersburg opposed the arbitrary and liberal rule of the Tsar of Russia. The rural folk have fallen in with the anti-Russian League. To all those who cherish liberty, Russia, under the boot of that pernicious Tsar, stands out as an example of the very worst excesses of despotism. In no country is the indomitable right of every soul to strive towards its own destiny obstructed as it is in Russia, and in no country is a greater threat found to our own liberty than in Russia. Russia must fall, for if it does not, we will fall in her place. Down with tyrants, down with Russia. They join the anti-Russian League, or sometimes a firm hand is needed to govern well, they become pissed off. Where are my rural folk in terms of strength? They're a complete non-factor in our politics. I'm going to do the second one. I don't care if they get unhappy. They can't do anything to change the way the game is going. Alright, so Denmark declared rivalry. How curious. So and the British are invading northern Colombia. Alright, well, we'll move our army all the way across the country, which I can do because I'm cool and smart and good at video games. Alright, and now unfortunately they've stationed a much larger force here in Britain to repel our naval invasion. We have 46% occupation, but they're defending cleanly now. With that having been said, Britain, you're below 0 in war support. They're actually almost willing to give up both my independence and the NUF, so I'm feeling pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and cancel this naval invasion to make sure that my my army doesn't get marooned in Britain. We'll go ahead and station them in Eastern Canada. The fleet can be wherever they like. And once Britain gets below like 12, we should be good to go. And then our cash situation will be doing hopefully a lot better. We're paying a huge amount in interest. Just unbelievably large quantities of interest. Alright. That is acceptable to everyone. Let's do it. Independence Day. The old colonial structures which formerly governed our territory are woefully insufficient for an independent state. We must settle upon the foundations of a free and independent Canada. The governor did not have time to pack up his furniture before he left. Half a dozen fine European chairs graced his dining room, surrounding a table that had been hastily stripped of the silverware and its silken cloth by fleeing prior occupants. Those fine chairs now hosted six fine gentlemen. Some of them, fortunate enough to warrant an invitation to the governor's dinners, had been here before. The remainder were rougher, newer. If any here were inclined to present something bold, it would be one of them. The board of directors will retain supreme authority. Canada enables parliamentary republic in governance principles. Or we will have a republic. Canada enables law presidential republic. Okay, interesting. Let's take a quick look at our politics. So presidential republic is 100 authority, 10 legitimacy based on votes, 10 legitimacy based on head of state, increased legitimacy penalty for ideological incompatibility. Parliamentary republic, on the other hand, is more legitimacy based on votes, more government size allowance, but reduced authority. Interesting. I think I've got to go with presidential republic because we're not currently voting. We will have a republic. So that puts us a little bit short of authority. Oh, but the cash flow is so good. I am very pleased. All right, let's unpause government construction. Populating the Americas. Canada is a vast and fortunate land, though it is sparsely populated. We must look beyond the seas, particularly to troubled Europe, for potential settlers to work our fields and our factories. The federal government will encourage European immigration, and it will not restrict, limit, or burden with any taxes the entrance into Canadian territory of foreigners who come with the goal of working the land, improving the industries, and teaching the sciences and the arts. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses. Extra migration attraction for every incorporated state, which I believe is all of them except for Idaho. And populating the Americas journal entry. Or we're doing fine on our own. We don't worry about it. I'm going to populate the Americas. The acquisition of Alaska. Oh, excellent. Oh, man. This will be too unclear. I would like to purchase Alaska. Let's wait a minute. Let's wait just a minute. Let's handle our shortage of bureaucracy. Let's not go too buck wild here. I'm going to put 2 levels of government sectors in Saskatchewan and 2 in Alberta, just to clear out our bureaucracy shortage here. And that should get our cash flow doing even a little bit better. Let's take a look at our... let's remove our consumption tax on luxury clothes, since we're hardly producing any of that. Let's see. A consumption tax on porcelain would do us a lot better. One on fruit would be extremely effective at raising funds. But porcelain and luxury furniture together would be the best options available in terms of what authority we've got. Alright, so that's a good cash flow situation. I think I am going to keep government construction paused for the time being. We've got a huge investment pool and plenty of ability of it to continue to expand the country's economy. And we need to chip away at this debt. Actually, our debt's really low. We're the number 2 great power in the world, behind Britain. That's incredible. So, let's do a little bit of diplomatic work. first things first. Let's have a defensive pact with the United States. They don't wish one. That's interesting. What if they got trade privileges? They don't desire trade privileges. What if we gave them an obligation? An obligation for a defensive pact. I think that's reasonable. Beautiful. The Leonard Town Convention. All right. France. My friends. Defensive pact? Power block embassy? No. Don't love giving them investment rights. An obligation is not going to be enough, though. Oh, I don't love that, but it's worth it. Now, Prussia. Defensive pact for trade privileges. And an obligation? No. Okay. I don't desire that. Ottoman Empire, let's be better friends. Russia, let's be better friends. Alright, things are going okay. Things are going okay. My bureaucratic deficit is steadily decreasing. I'm not building, but the private sector is building, and that's what matters. In fact, they could even be building more, which would be nice. I gotta build a little bit more bureaucracy, because here's the thing. The Canadian people deserve better institutions. Canada deserves a better class of bureaucrat, and I'm gonna give it to them. Alright, time to refill my water. When I say refill my water, what I mean is I'm going to pour my water from the glass where I got my water and my ice into my water bottle, which is what I'm drinking out of. Why am I doing it this way? Because I'm a cat and don't know anything. I could form my own power block, but it would be nice to be part of someone else's. But I'm the #2 great power. Alright, and then I can populate the American West. Our target population is 6 million. Russia is damaging relations. Okay. Settle down, Russia. Let's get those motor industries built. And then we'll take a look at what we need. We're getting all of our wine from abroad. So I need to be producing my own wine. Should not be a problem whatsoever. I have plenty of places I can build vineyards. Although I need the railways in Ontario before I can do too much development, which is a little bit shocking, but I suppose that's the way things are. I think I'm actually really comfortable with my national debt where it is. I'm paying very little in interest. There's enlistment offices. Nice. Investment pool is significantly increasing in size. Transfer subject in Indonesia. Ah, yes. We've had our India explosion. Now, wonderful. Well, that's fine. That's just fine. I can completely live with that. What else do we need to produce? I'll be able to produce my own wine. I'll need to produce my own coffee. I've got coffee plantations, but where? Oh, right. I need to reset production methods in Newfoundland and Labrador. Let me see. We're bringing in a lot of coffee. I've got some coffee plantations. Those are in the Maritimes, I want to say. No. Where am I producing my coffee? Rural. Ah. It's in, hold on. This is silly. I can look at it this way. In South Madagascar, okay. That's right, because Madagascar doesn't have... has, like, weirdly insufficient, arable land available. Alright, so I need more places where I can produce coffee. Time to declare an interest. I just need places where I can get coffee. Alright. Dyes were still a little bit rough on. All of our dye plantations are in Madagascar, which obviously is not ideal. So we need to increase our synthetics industry to sort that out. I believe dye plantations input wood. I think I put mine in the Maritimes. No, they input fertilizer and sulfur. Alright, so that was a dumb place for them. I should put them in Ontario, where my sulfur mines are. And be getting quite excessive in Ontario, but that's okay. Paper mills are overproducing a little bit. I think really it's a trade capacity issue here. Yeah, because my trade centers are going buck wild. Alright, gotta make sure I don't crash Victoria 3. Cash flow's going well. Oh, I also gotta build up those gold mines. Gosh, and also golly. Alright, the Americans and the Russians are fighting, so hopefully that'll make that situation a little bit easier to deal with. Alright, vineyards are getting built. Now, what else is expensive? Silk is expensive. Nothing to do about that. Let's go ahead and let's Savine import. I have to. I don't have any other way of handling that side of the economy. And I need to produce clothes. That's the takeaway here. Where have I got the most livestock ranches? Well, this seems like an ideal thing to put in the middle of the country. So, textile mills, and then livestock ranches, and textile mills. And what that's going to do... what we're going to do is we're actually going to put all of that below... all of this other development in the center of the country, we're going to put below that stuff, because I need to be producing my own clothes. Because clothes, every country needs to have its own textile industry. That's just reasonable. You can't be relying on other people for that. Prejudiced employers. Greek people are having a hard time getting employed in the Maritimes due to the prejudices of some Anglo-Canadian employers. I went to apply for a warehouse job. They took one look at me and said the job wasn't for my kind. Work is for everyone, reduced authority, or it's up to bosses to decide who they hire. Okay, I'm going to be a little sneaky here. I'm going to grab my my road maintenance campaigns. These are going to be in Saskatchewan and Alberta. I'm going to turn off my greener grasses campaign. I'm going to throw in a consumption tax. So let's actually cut the luxury furniture one and throw one in on fruit. Wow, I'm taking a real hit to standard of living here. And then we'll spend the authority, because I don't want to reduce standard of living. Spend the authority. There we go. Beautiful. Nailed it. Now, how's our situation? Can actually change up a lot of laws right now. Still in technocracy, which we do like. Still in no migration controls. Everyone would be happier with migration controls, but I'm happy with things as they are, because I can bring in a lot of people. Lighthouse of Progress. Looking to the British system of census suffrage with a great sense of admiration, members of the rural folk have been flocking to pro-British societies of late. Petite bourgeoisie are salty because of the whole British situation. When I speak Great Britain, alas, the first matters that springs to the mind of many of our dear countrymen will be those pertaining to foreign politics and not domestic. However, it is to the former, and not the latter, that we must look for the foundations of a true and strong bond between our two nations. There is some merit to the British system. They join it. Our mob rule has no place in Canada. 2% of rural folk member pops become more radical. I'm going to pick the second one. And this situation is actually a major problem. Because they could try to coup the government. And I wouldn't want that. So, how can I appease my petite bourgeoisie? I think the answer is, unfortunately, migration controls. Oh, my industrialists are not going to be happy with that. Censorship, who would be mad? Not anybody I care about. So, unfortunately, it's going to have to be censorship. At least for a little while. Until they cool down about Great Britain. Great Britain's now cautious towards us. Relations are bad. I could improve relations. No, I can't. Why not? Diplomatic lens, help. Because I expelled the diplomats. Well, them's the breaks. Alright, now I had a lobby demand. Russia? Where's the... How do I... They wanted me to embargo Russia, right? That's the word. Oh, maybe I need to damage relations a little bit. This should be really quick because they're also damaging relations. Russia's actually lower ranked than me. We'll rival them as well. That's fine. That'll get us some extra influence to play with. France we're in good with. Russia could be better. Austria, we're fine. Brazil, we're fine. Ooh, Bosniak National Awakening. Exciting. Cash flow's doing really well. I would love to build more construction sectors. Ooh, Ukrainian mass immigration. Excellent. Well, we'll go ahead and do it. Where don't we have construction sectors? Let's build a couple in Alberta and Saskatchewan, and we'll just throw these at the top of the queue to get them rolling as fast as we can, because that'll help all of our other stuff get rolling. Now, how's the situation in the West? Somewhat silly, but that's okay. I can live with silly. Now, what if I took over Oman? What if I turned Oman into a protectorate? Would anyone stop me? A lot of people... Ooh, the Ottomans might actually try to stop me. Can I take the Ottomans in a fight? Wouldn't fancy my chances. So maybe I'll stay away from there for now. Zanzibar. What have you got over here? You've got coffee, but not enough. But you've got a lot of dyes. But we're in a truce. That's what's happening. We're in a truce. Oh, no, you're a French protectorate. Never mind. Never mind. Gaza, what about you? You've got coffee and dyes, but not enough. Okay, that's not right. No, it's not ideal for my purposes. All right, Galedi, Majertine, Warsangali, and Isak. I just need to make sure all these countries are independent. If they're all independent, I can unite them. Majertine is a British subject. Ah, that's unfortunate. On the other hand, now that there's been an India explosion, I could take some shots at India. I think that's what I'll do. I think we'll build ourselves a little bit of a protectorate network in India. So that's made cash flow a little bit worse, but also we're building all the stuff we need to build, and that's what's important. Gosh, I need these railways really badly. A lot of it failed for censorship. That's okay. I just gotta watch these attitude things because I need to shortage of munitions. I need to make sure these don't make the game get silly the way they had before. So, that was a little concerning. So let's go ahead and increase our, oh, weird. Munitions plants can't hire. Let's go back to hand assembly for them. Arms industries seem okay. They'd be more profitable under hand assembly, though. But they're okay where they are. We'll go to urban buildings to take a look at the others. Alright, these need to be on. Correct production methods. Artillery foundries would also be happier with hand assembly, so let's do it. Munitions plants, you're still unhappy. Why are you unhappy? Probably because I have too many of them. Yeah, I have too many. Alright, let's remove our tariffs. Trading munitions freely. So, Hyderabad, what if you became my protector? 21 infantry. But nobody would stop me except for Satara. Jaipur, Kolhapur, Pudukkottai. I'm not too concerned about many of these countries. 28 battalions seem a little bit high, plus a lot more potentially conscriptable. But what does your tech look like? Okay, mobile artillery. All right, mobile artillery, shrapnel artillery, and skirmishing. Okay, so you're a real country. I can't simply devour you. What about Carnatic? Okay, I may be getting a little bit overambitious going after India right now. Maybe I'll wait until the Ottomans are up to something with somebody else. They've got truces for a bit now because of my war. And then I do want to increase my level of bureaucracy so that I can improve my institutions. Book burnings. Members of the petite bourgeoisie have organized book burnings of material deemed anti-Canadian. This is normalizing support for the censorship law. Books are the fangs and the poisonous snake of propaganda, spreading their lies through the bloodstream of society. Burning them is one very effective way of blunting them as fangs. This is excellent. Increased enactment success chance, reduced innovation. Or if we organize state-run book burnings, significantly reduced innovation, significantly increased enactment success chance. I'm just going to pick the first one. I don't want innovation penalties. That's actually quite bad. Benin is independent. I could go after Benin. Could I not? They have significant agricultural space available. Yeah. Declare an interest. We'll go after Benin. That'll be reasonable. And then I can have what I wish to have. OU is a French protectorate, so that should be fine. Diplomatic ties with Hawaii. Nice. I do want to improve my relations with the British eventually because, I mean, frankly, it's mostly because I don't like my British-Canadian Union being unhappy. Oh, interesting. Yeah, okay, so the United States is going after Alaska. Which makes sense. I may have been too bullish on these railways because they are taking a really, really long time. On the other hand, maybe I haven't been bullish enough on building construction sectors. Maybe that's been my real failure. So let's build a few more. Again, this is going to cost me more money, but I've got so much in the investment pool at this point. I've got interests kind of all over the world right now, so my investment pool is just bringing in a huge amount of cash flow from various areas. What I need to do is build one level of... Ooh, vacuum canning. That's very good. I need to build one level of military shipyards in the Marina Kingdom so that they can build their own ships. And then I can not worry about it. About this shortage of man-o-wars. Now, right, vacuum canning. That's the thing I was going to do. So we'll get our food industries vacuum packaging. And do you want to be on a different liquor method? You do not. That's okay. Let's chill. Oh! Sir John MacDonald has passed? Retired, perhaps. Our new chief executive is Thomas Powell, a market liberal aligned with the industrialists. He is inept. Reducing our legitimacy and our and his popularity. He's a meticulous demagogue. Okay, so this is bad for our authority situation. I really don't want to cut any consumption taxes, so I think we're just going to have to remove our road maintenance decrees for now. I think the size of our economy is handling that pretty okay. I should be able to embargo Russia now. Yes. All right. I'm going to stop damaging relations with them because I don't actually need to damage relations with them. And I also haven't taken much of a look at what's going on with the NUF right now. Which is not all that much. This area has really been neglected by the British, which makes sense in terms of British policy because it's chock full of Irish people. That's the way the British do things. Police brutality. The use of extreme force is becoming increasingly common among police officers in the Yukon Territory. The working class and the socially conscious are rallying against the police as an institution. Scarcely a week passes without their committing some offense which disgusts everybody but the magistrates. Boys are bruised by their ferocity, women insulted by their ruffianism, and that which brutality is done, perjury denies, and magisterial stupidity suffers to go unpunished. Police brutality is becoming one of our most venerated institutions. We cannot tolerate this behavior. Rural folk and intelligentsia happier, reduce law enforcement institution by 1, or the use of force is warranted. 5% of lower starting pops in the Yukon Territory become more radical. Armed forces and petite bourgeoisie happier. I'm going to pick that second one. I need to get my petite bourgeoisie happier. So we're going to need to figure out a development plan for Newfoundland at some point, for Newfoundland and Labrador at some point. Because this area is just so down so extremely bad after Decades of neglect by the British. Actually, I can probably really radically increase my my construction output because I've almost kicked my debt at this point. So let's build in our northern territories, shall we? Construction sectors, one and all. Contradictory correspondence. Private inflammatory letters written by a member of the British-Canadian Union have been leaked to the national newspaper. British officials have taken notice and are displeased. The petite bourgeoisie sent a representative on behalf of the British-Canadian Union to converse with the newspaper editors. The representative steers the conversation away from the leaked correspondence. Sure, with the remarkable speed of the printing press, another essay can be authored and distributed. In the backdrop, the loud thrum of the printing press's cylinders carry on, indifferent to the machinations of the men who puppeteer them. So this is interesting. The damage is already done, deteriorates relations. Or these letters should not be circulated further. Reduce legitimacy. 5% of petite bourgeoisie member pops become more loyal. I'm going to pick the second one. I can take the legitimacy hit to improve things with the petite bourgeoisie. Now, I'm still quite low on legitimacy, which is pretty tough, I must say. I've got my two most... Am I simply suffering from a large penalty to ideology? Yeah. Okay. This fellow's a market liberal now, so maybe the answer is... No, that's even worse. I'm at my most legitimate I could possibly get. Brutal. How's America's war going? I think this war quietly has no fronts. Okay, the Declaration of Como. Australia, why would you do this? Or Austria, rather. That was dumb. That was dumb of me. I do admit it. That was dumb of me. Alright, I was gonna go after Benin, so it's time to go after Benin. Let's see if I can make them a protectorate. Nobody will step in except for Borgu and Futa Toro, and I'm okay with that. We're going to grab the 2nd Canadian Army. We're going to just move them to the Maritimes. I'm not going to send them to war yet. I don't think it's necessary to mobilize them right now. And my fleet is... Maybe they've been on their way back this whole time, or maybe they were simply ignoring before. That's okay. The Canadian Dream. A story has been making the rounds about a miner who struck it rich and became the wealthiest man in town. People in the Yukon Territory are beginning to live beyond their means, convinced they'll all become rich soon as well. You see his new house? The dining room is all paneled and framed in pine and finished enamel white with furniture and teak. An imported chandelier made by some obscure artisan whose name no one can pronounce again. And all of it comes from the mines, all of it. Can't be that harmful. Yukon Territory gets spending spree, increased standard of living, but unrealistic expectations increase minimum standard of living for all strata, or all that is gold does not glitter. Half the spending spree for 1.5 standard of living, 10% radicals from political movements, but the increased minimum expected standards of living are lower. So this is Yukon Territory. Let's take a quick look at things. Standards of living are well above the desired, so I think I can go with the first one, and that'll be just fine. So this will be good for our economy, getting a hold of Benin. It'll get us a nice place to put some more dye plantations. I got actually a lot of authority to play with now, so I think I can put another consumption tax on luxury furniture, and I think that's reasonable. Long term, I do want to increase the size of my bureaucracy, but I think right now I got to focus on the economy, particularly on producing a sufficiency of textile mills to be able to fund my, to be able to have my own textile industry. I think I rather desperately need that. Let's get the lads mobilized. We'll do a naval invasion pretty shortly and deal with that. Now, before we get too far, I'm going to reduce the Marina Kingdom's autonomy. I'm going to reduce their subject payments, because I don't need the money. But rather, having their having them continue to increase in, having their liberty desire be lower is better for me than the 1.6k that I'm getting from them. I'm going to improve relations there. Now I have a chance of... Alright, well, I seem to have passed censorship. It is what it is. Hopefully this will tide over our petite bourgeoisie until the British Canadian Union is less unhappy. How are things with Britain? Alright, I can start improving relations, and I'm going to. Our war should be starting soon. There we go. And let's go ahead and get our naval invasion rolling. This shouldn't be too much of a situation. 100% naval efficiency, excellent. And before I forget, I do have some more gold mine capacity. So I'm going to go ahead. Where are they? Are they not in here? Count as agriculture? Development? Okay. I'm pretty sure there was gold mine capacity in Northern Colombia. No. Yukon territory, they're already built. Hey, Ukrainian people are immigrating. Excellent. And Franco-Provençal people. Cool. Maybe it was over in the historical American Northwest? No, it doesn't seem like it. Oh, and I actually got a little bit more authority to play with. Let's throw in one more consumption tax. Ooh, or I could cut the luxury goods one and throw one on transportation. No, I wanna keep it on coffee. I think that's just sensible. Now, situation with Oman. Has this changed at all? Ottoman Empire no longer interested in fighting me about it. Russia, right on the line, though. So leave them be for now. Anyway, too many wars at once is a little silly. Alright, so we're getting our textile industry rolling. We are getting a lot of tariffs from importing clothes, but... Okay, let's subsidize these textile mills. Because I want to get these rolling and producing our own textiles. I don't want to simply be purchasing textiles from everywhere else in the world. That seems silly. Now, I will, however, subsidize the import of silk. Which I'm already doing, so that's fine. Because we need these textile mills to run. So we are producing our own luxury clothes now. And what are prices looking like for them? Alright, so an import tariff is good. Let's set an export subvention. And Benin is now our protectorate. That's just fine. Let's improve relations. That should help out our economy some. They have quite a bit of resources and stuff we can build. So, what are we importing that we don't want to import? Dyes, fruit. We're doing well for tobacco. What about coffee? Where's coffee? Yeah, we're producing a lot of... we're importing a lot of coffee. We don't want to be doing that. Alright, so I'm going to throw 10 levels of dye plantations, 10 levels of coffee plantations into Benin. Ooh, there's Je ne Colle. Excellent. I think I want to finish out all the stuff I've been planning for... Oh. Radical Revolt in Benin. Alright. I think I want to finish out the improvements in Alberta. The heavy industry in Saskatchewan and Alberta, I think we'll have to wait. I'm going to cut these trade centers. I think the private sector will build those if it wants them. And then the military shipyards in Madagascar I do want. Alright, so there's this little bit of a civil war happening here, just a smidge. We are involved. Oh, right. This is our fleet. Where's our army? These guys are the ones who need to go to the front. Okay, well, you know, the timing was great. They were about to fall into civil war, so really, when you think about it, I'm really helping them. Yeah, they were about to fall into civil war. Things could have gone absolutely nutty. It would have been terrible. I mean, when you think about it, I'm really the benevolent one here. It's not really imperialism. This is really me being based. Palanpur is a good target. What resource capacity do they have? They have the ability to produce opium. What if I went after? What if I went after Palanpur? Only Marwar. So only local Indian powers would stop me. I think I'm going to go there as well. But not quite yet. Netherlands. You want investment rights and trade privileges? Sure. That's fine. They want me to invest in them, which is absolutely fine with me. I love having a stonkin' thick investment pool. In fact, I've got such a one. It's kind of curious. All right. Fruit. I may need to build banana plantations in Benin as well. Defamatory article. A newspaper called the Northwest Territories Gazette has printed a bigoted article about the Zeckler people living there. We can suppress the article or we can let it be released. He threw the tabloid across the table with a huff. Absolutely vile lies, the lot of it. Alas, that won't matter to those who read it. They'll gobble it right up. He eyed the shocked maid's face, then righted himself. Of course they'd believe it. He hadn't given them proof to the contrary. Suppress it, reduce authority, or ignore it. -1 standard of living for Zeckler people in the Northwest Territories. I'm going to suppress it. It's going to cost me some authority, so I'll go ahead and cut my coffee consumption tax for now. It's fine. It's fine. Just a little consumption tax. I think this civil war is actually going to be done pretty fast, so I'm going to go after Palanpur. I'm going to start that right now. Wait, hold on. Liberate country? What's that? Sind. Hold on. Oh, right. That's just territory that's historically Sind's. Alright. Alright. Enough talk. Have at you. Was I looking at Macron before? I thought I had a 20% chance they say yes indicator there, but maybe I simply mistook things. All right, so that's kicked off. So I think I'll basically leave the lads in Benin, and then we'll go after Palanpur when the time comes. They are mobilizing their forces. Irregular and line infantry and dragoons, so I'm not worried about that. Ever-increasing influence. Members of the Canadian-American Union have discreetly dispatched one of their number to amplify their mission in the nation's most widely read newspaper. The Canadian-American Union has calculated with utmost mastery the dissemination of materials to secure a foothold in both the political world and the public's imaginations. With great satisfaction, a lobbyist comments there is no denying the number and reach of newspapers has ever expanded. This approach is sure to reach influential lawmakers to favor our scheme. This sets a bad precedent. Industrialists mad, or this is ingenious. Reduced legitimacy, increased appeasement. I'm going to say this sets a bad precedent, because much as I like having the favor of the industrialists, I can't afford to lose any more legitimacy. I've never been this down bad for legitimacy when I've been in technocracy. This is wild. Alright, beautiful. So, we're getting to work on those dye plantations. That's also very good. Zanzibar sides of Rwanda. Not my business. Palanpur backs down. Excellent. That's wonderful. I'm delighted to hear that, Palanpur. And their liberty desire is going down. Let's improve relations. Am I also improving relations with Benin? I should be. I sure am. Excellent. So I'm helping them in their civil war, and that's great. Return state in northern Germany. Oh man. Well, things are getting quite silly out there, I must say. And that's the Benin Radical Revolt handled. Beautiful. Now, Palanpur. Wait. Well, the Americans seem to have sorted out the thing with the Russians. Let's make an offer on Alaska. The United States of America finds itself unable to protect its North American colony of Alaska and appears willing to sell the territory to us for an affordable sum. A representative of Canada agrees to pay at the Treasury at Fort Douglas to the diplomatic representatives or other agents of His Majesty the President of all the United States of America $7,200,000 in gold. Make the necessary arrangements. $3 million over the course of a year. We can't afford the expense. $3 million over the course of a year, that's just fine. Make the necessary arrangements. Failed Alaska purchase. What? Negotiations with the United States of America over the purchase of Alaska have failed. We see, therefore, that war is not merely a political act, but also a real political instrument. A continuation of political commerce, a carrying out by the same by other means. We will continue diplomacy through other means. We get a claim to deteriorate relations by 20, or it was worth an attempt to deteriorate relations by 5. I'm just going to pick the second one. I don't really care about that much. We're still in very good terms with the Americans, and I want to keep it that way. Ottoman Empire sides of Prussia. Okay, what's going on over there? This is about Nassau. So Prussia's trying to take Nassau from Nassau. They've got on their side the Ottoman. They want to transfer Finland, enforce trade privileges, conquer Tiflis, which is somewhere. Tiflis. Where's Tiflis? Down here. Okay. Enforce investment rights on Bukhara. Russia, in turn, wants a revoke claim on Hesse and to enforce transit rights on Prussia. That's bananas. Buddy, what are you doing? Is there anyone likely to support the Russians on this? It doesn't seem like. In fact, it seems like not. But the Prussians are lower down in the totem pole than the Russians. Their economy is significantly smaller. This could be an expensive war, but I could get involved. They've got the Ottomans on their side. The Prussians, do I mean? And what are the Ottomans getting at? Oh, the Ottomans are taking Tiflis. All right, well that makes perfect sense then. So what could I get out of this? A war goal. Can I steal a subject that would be interesting to me to steal? Russian-American company would be a fascinating target. No, I want to continue to handle my internal affairs. So, Palenpur. You've got some space for growing dope, and I want it. So... throw all of this at the bottom of the queue, because I want dope for my armies and whatnot. Cash flow's going just phenomenally, frankly. I'm doing really, really well in terms of a gold reserve. I can continue to increase the size of my construction sector. But I think before that, I want to take a little break from building up construction to build up government. And basically my goal here is I want to get a really good supply of bureaucracy because I want to get these institutions growing. I think having small institutions is doing a disservice to the Canadian people. And I think the stronger my institutions are, the better off Canada will be. Although I suppose increasing the size of the construction sector is good medium term. Okay, but first of all, better healthcare, better home affairs, better policing, better welfare. Just throw one level into each. That's going to cost us about 800 bureaucracy total. But I think we're going to have the capacity for it. Excellent. I'm very pleased. Obviously, this is going to cost me a little bit of cash, but it's worth it. And I think increasing the size of the construction sector is also going to be in the cards. Let's go a little crazy and go up to 50. So, Northern Colombia will actually put 4 levels there. Saskatchewan will put 2. Alberta will put 2. And let's put another 2 in the Maritimes. We'll throw all those at the top of the queue. They'll get done really fast. Sex Meiningen will owe us an obligation if we back them against their revolt. Where are they? They're in there. I can't get there, Sex Meiningen. I don't know why you think that I'm going to be able to help with that. Oop. There's a situation going on in Bulgaria, which I maybe could have gotten involved in, but didn't. And that's okay. Yeah, our investment pool is still going absolutely buck wild. Just going crazy with investment. But it's worth it. Relations with Britain are improving. I'm short on glass. Goodness, how am I short on glass? Is it possible for me to not be producing enough glass? Oh, because I keep increasing the size of my construction sectors. Well, that'll do it. That shakes out. That lines up. The numbers don't lie. Yeah, look at the size of this private sector queue. Golly. I gotta say, economic growth is proving really, really extreme, and I'm feeling pretty pleased about it for the nation. I got my own arts academies rolling now, which is also nice. Although they're mostly outside. I got a few in the Maritimes. They're mostly in southern... Oh, no, never mind. They're mostly in southern Colombia, which is in the country. I'm just so used to thinking of Colombia as being Colombia in South America. Do I build glass? Do I rush these glassworks? I think so. I think I need them. Now, obviously my porcelain situation It's a little silly. I'm going to subvene export of porcelain. I think that's worth it. Let's take a quick look at trade policy. I'm paying a lot subvening fruit right now. What's going on with fruit? Tell me your secrets, fruit. I'm subvening the import of fruit. Let's instead tariff the import of fruit. I can produce my own fruit now. So that's going to really significantly improve my cash flow situation. Let's wait a week for that to turn over. Alright, subventions are looking a lot better now. I'm subvening the import of opium and the import of dyes. I shouldn't need to subvene the import of dyes or opium at the... Well, opium we're getting there, but dyes I can safely let go at this stage. Where are they? Where are you at, dyes? Quite plentiful. Tariff instead. Secession in Occitania. Oh, but not in Occitania. Not of Occitania, just in Occitania. Booming oil industry. The recent expansion of oil rigs in Saskatchewan has boosted confidence in Canada's future as an oil producer. If our ancestors had seen machines powered by a black flammable liquid bursting forth from the earth, they would surely have called our technological marvels the work of the devil. Thank God we live in such enlightened times. Get every drop from those wells, extra oil extractors throughput, or we'll find even more things to put oil in. Extra progress towards combustion engine. I'm going with that extra progress towards combustion engine. I love free innovation. Okay. Now, we've pretty much finished out all the construction that I was planning. We got our opium plantations rolling now, so we'll... where is opium? Here. We'll tariff that instead. And there's improved fertilizers. Wonderful. Alright, so we'll get our farms using them. And we'll get our plants producing them. Oh, and we'll get our livestock ranches. Oh, we don't have that until mechanized farming. Okay. This is going to make fertilizer really cheap. Yes? Yes. So we'll do a little export subvention. Just keep those industries running. Okay, subventions are at a much more reasonable level. Let's talk about groceries. Are groceries expensive in the market? Not really. Let's go to tariff front on importation. That'll be good. Cross-border investments. Canadian industrialists are interested in making investments in neighboring American industries. He stood up, put on his hat, and headed towards the door. At first it seemed he would leave without another word. Then he turned around and spoke with barely suppressed anger. Being accused of lacking patriotism for where I try to make money isn't just an insult. It betrays a complete lack of understanding of how money is made. Do you think that I made what I already have by thinking provincially? An excellent investment. Improves relations with the United States by 30. United States gets increased manufacturing tax income, or strong-arm them into investing domestically. Increased manufacturing tax income for me, and increased and industrialists unhappy. Sheesh, we're really riding the line with the industrialists. I'm just going to go with the first one. I think that's fine. Alright, well, where are our glassworks? We've got quite a few. Yeah, a lot of them being built up by the private sector. I don't think I'm necessarily going to build any more of those right now. The fickle crowd. The populist base of the trade unions has turned against supporting foreign entanglements. Pressure from within has led the group to distance itself from the anti-Russian League. Canadian needs first. The people say no to foreign entanglements and no to foreign treaties. Prosperity at home or chaos abroad. No foreign power could successfully attack a fortified Canada. It was a mistake to rely on them. They leave the anti-Russian League. They must steer clear of these populist ideals. Weaker trade unions. Oof. The Anti-Russian League is getting me a lot of approval from them. They must steer clear of these populist... It said tides. It didn't say ideals, it said tides. That's okay. That's okay. I'm dumb. It is what it is. Alright. Yeah, we got a lot of glassworks in there, but also... I want more glassworks now. Oh, wait. Hold on. Glass situation's much better. Alright, grocery situation is doing a little bit better. How's the liquor situation? Liquor's usually really cheap. Not so much in our customs union, though. Have they rebalanced liquor and gotten it right this time? Yeah, it's right about there with groceries. Alright, so let's go ahead and increase the size of our food industries by a whole bunch. In fact, these are now profitable. If we go to pot stills, they'll be even more profitable. They think they'll be better with patent stills, but I don't know if that's true. Let's wait until they start hiring again. Okay, they are hiring again now. And that's our institutions boosted up. Wonderful. Self-propelled torpedoes unlocked. Nice. Right, they say they'll be better with patent stills. By a lot. Okay, so they fired some people. Well, they don't want to hire. Alright, we're producing our own dope now. Groceries are still bringing in a lot from trade centers. It's not ideal. Alright, Hollandpur, you're going to get even more opium plantations. And now that I've got a better sense of the fruit situation, yeah, you're going to get a bunch more of those as well. You're going to be producing a whole lot more bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A-S. Benin's going to be producing more too. Oh, tea. Cripes. I need more tea. I'm importing all my tea. Do you produce tea? You don't. Do I have anywhere else I can produce tea in my own, Nope, seems like a resounding no. Okay, well, that'll simply have to be what it is. We got an import tariff on there, so at least the government's making money. And oil, I don't want us to be an export of oil. I think that's fine. We'll need it in good time. Still bringing in a lot of coffee and a lot of dyes. Let's remove the export tariff on dyes. I think that's fine. Let's throw an export subvention on luxury furniture. It's going to make our furniture industries more efficient. Now, merchant marine, I'm at a loss. I don't know why we're importing that. But a lot of other stuff looks pretty good. Feeling pretty comfortable with where we are economically. The only hard one is silk, and I don't really have a solution to that right now. Well, there are places I could go to get a solution to that. China is still in one piece. Wow, I'm really number 4 in the GDP ranks. That's pretty impressive. Yeah, right after France. Oh, heck. That's pretty impressive. Oh, I'm very pleased. Alright, feeling pretty good about that stuff. Just feeling pretty good about my overall situation for a lot of reasons. Did I not build that military shipyard in the Marina Kingdom? What happened with that? Because they are rolling. Alright, and that's dealt with our little shortage of whatevers. Okay, I think I'm going to go just a little bit longer till the middle of the year. I'm feeling really good about where we are. I don't love being at censorship, but I need to be that for the petite bourgeoisie to feel okay, because they like the British, and I'm not currently good friends with the British. We're improving relations with the British. We're getting to the point where things are chill. In fact, I could draft a treaty. What about trade privileges? We'll see if they say yes. Alright, they did. So that's made our petite bourgeoisie a little happier. Oil rush subsides. The groundwork of the Saskatchewan oil industry complete, its appeal and promise is waning among those seeking to carve out their own fortune. The nature of these operations is that eventually a few people will hold all the cards. The industry lives on, but our hands are played. We are not among the few. But the oil will last forever? A whole bunch of penalties for extra oil extractors throughput. I'm not going to read all this. It's not important. Because what we're going to do is we're going to pick the second one, which is shuffle the expertise into manufacturing, or increase manufacturing industries throughput. I think that's just sensible. I think that's just the most reasonable way to go about things. Now, let me take a quick run at things. Okay, these, you suddenly don't want to be here. You think you'd be less profitable with pot stills. I think we're going to subsidize these food industries. I think that just makes the most sense. Because that's gonna knock out the industries that are importing this stuff. I'm gonna set an import tariff on meat as well. All right, so that's cut the price of groceries significantly. All right, and that has cut all of our grocery imports really significantly. And then, how about liquor? Liquor's doing just fine. I'm going to subvene export of liquor. I think that's just reasonable. I pretty much always do that. That's my standard trade policy. That's standard to GenCat trade policy. I'll reduce some labor-saving methods for the furniture industry. I think they like that better. And how much am I paying in subsidies? Not that much, actually. All right, so from here, let's take a quick look at our politics. We're doing pretty well for institutions. I could throw in a little bit more welfare. I think I will, because I've got the bureaucracy to play with. And what to do from here? I think, actually, oh, I can do photographic art. I wasn't thinking about that. Part of our problem is that we don't own all that much of our own industry. Although we only own a few. There are only a few building levels that are owned by the British at this stage. In fact, we own a lot more British GDP than Britain owns of ours. But even so, just for... We've got a lot of cash in the gold reserve at this time. So I think, before we close things out, we're going to filter to Building levels with non-Canadian owners. Okay, that's France. I'm just going to find the British industries. Okay, we're going to filter to in Canada. And we're just gonna nationalize them. We're going to nationalize all of the British industry in Canada, just because there shouldn't be. Yeah, here we go. The Hudson's Bay Company is technically a British company. All right, we'll. Nationalize these fishing wharves. And we'll nationalize these fishing wharves. These ones are owned by Philippine capitalists. We'll nationalize them. France. Iron mines. Society named Jean Cockerell. Nah, that's Belgium. All right, we'll leave them be for now. Lead mines. These are owned in France. Logging camps. Haha. Some of our logging camps have become British privately owned. Let's go ahead and snag those. And again, this is really barely costing us any money. Really are quite a few. Maybe we should decay relations with Great Britain too much. On the other hand, ports are very important. Okay, most of these are not are only costing us money to nationalize. They're not costing us relations to nationalize. So I think we can go about that without having a problem. Railways. These are owned by Luzon. Can go ahead and snag that. The Philippines are mad at us, but what are you gonna do? Right, those are fine. Lead mines, we're good. Logging camps, I think I already did. Motor industries, that's fine. Ports, I was just in, we're good there. Regional company headquarters, I can't do anything about that. Steel mills. Okay. Sulfur mines. Now here's one that I'm... Actually, it's a little bit of a surprise that we've only got a few. We got some of these owned by Bengal. Relations are currently pretty good with them. I am going to nationalize these. Textile mills, these are good. Tobacco plants, that's fine. Trade centers. British privately owned, Philippine privately owned, Sataran privately owned, Bengali privately owned. Not that big of a deal. Let's get them. One more trade center in Hudson's Bay Company, owned by British Hudson's Bay Company. We'll do the same in Northern Colombia. We'll snag those trade centers. That should be fine. And then whaling stations and wheat farms. Beautiful. All right. That's looking really, really good. And we've established the photographic arts. And there's a brave engineer. Whoa, busy MP episode. Captured light and shadow. The interest in photographic arts throughout Canada has spawned many new artistic movements experimenting with the technology. It can perhaps seem too harsh to capture reality as the human eye perceives it, without any of the love or mercy of the human heart softening the image. However, by moving that responsibility from the artist to the observer, we hope to make people more aware of the contents of their own hearts. This should be the new tool of reporters everywhere. Extra tech spread for society. Used to capture the beauty of Canada. Extra migration attraction. We should put our efforts towards making these pictures come alive. Free progress towards film. I'm going to go for migration attraction. The brave engineer. A railroad accident in Idaho only narrowly avoided heavy fatalities due to the quick thinking of the train's engineer who perished in the crash. Only a few people died, but the wreckage will take some time to clear. Come all you rounders if you want to hear a story all about a brave engineer. Thank goodness for quick-thinking engineers, reduced infrastructure, or railmen should get more than a song for dying on the job. Reduced infrastructure, but stronger and happier trade unions. I'm just going to go with the first one. I think that's fine. Whew. Alright. How am I doing with urbanized Canada? I'm at 53%. Oh, wow. Here's another event. Exile at the gates. The relatively lenient Canadian immigration system has long been attractive to those fleeing their home nations. Recently, Igor Caso has petitioned to join the stream of people moving to Canada. It was one name on a very, very long list, one that had passed through multiple layers of bureaucracy before even being noticed. One fateful day, however, one clerk at the end of his shift pointed at the name and spoke those fatal words. I can swear I've heard of him before. So Igor Caso is a modernizer aligned with the landowners. Eventually, Igor Caso too will be Canadian and joins the country, where we will not have someone like this regardless of precedent. Industrialists mad. I'm going to go with the first one. I got to keep my industrialists happy. I think that's just good sense. Alright, what else do I need for the economy? I still need to produce more fruit. Currently building a bunch of banana plantations in Benin. Anywhere I can raise my own sugar. Yes. Let's build a block of sugar plantations in Sindh. See, 187. Still not producing as much of my own wine as I should like. So we'll produce another 5 levels of vineyards here. Urban centers are looking good in Saskatchewan and Alberta. Maritimes, we gotta be good. Oh, the Noof. We need to build up stuff in the Noof. Alright, let's build up 10 levels of logging camps, 10 levels of iron mines, a bunch of whaling stations, and then we'll build some synthetics plants and steel mills. There we go, that'll be enough. Here, enjoy some economy. Oh, Wilfrid Laurier retired. Laurier? Maybe. Can we get a more legitimate government? Still no. I don't know, maybe technocracy isn't the way to go. Gifts among friends. An internal investigation has discovered that a government official received many gifts from Hiram Atchison on behalf of the Canadian-British Union. The official leading the investigation details his findings. Does Hiram Atchison have no integrity? Among the gifts sent, the following was found. Half a dozen parcels of cloth, a carving knife, a pocket knife, 5 pairs of gloves, 23 barrels of salt, and a dozen bottles of Canada's finest colonial water. This is not bribery in support of the Canadian-British Union's cause. The Canadian-British Union has done nothing suspect. 5% petite bourgeoisie pops become more loyal. Or perhaps the leader should step down, he bails out, and increase legitimacy. That's interesting. Hiram Atchison is a traditionalist. I don't love that. Perhaps the leader should step down. Yeah, give me more legitimacy directly. Ooh, that's good. He's a Republican, so they align with my industrialists much better. And now, finally, we got ourselves a legitimate government in the Technate. Where am I time-wise? I'm going to go till the end of the year. I've gone far enough. I don't know what's going on over there in Alaska. I think things are just goofy. They're just plain goofy. There's no other way to say it. Wow, we really have a lot of cash coming in for the investment pool. I think, however, that the time has come to increase the size of the armed forces. Let's give this fella a promotion. And, yeah, we'll go ahead and build up. Let's build the noof up to 9. And then, let's see, what else? Grab a few more infantry in Alberta and Saskatchewan, and then we'll just build another 15 levels of artillery, and that'll be very good. It'll get us a nice rock solid increase. And then I think for our first fleet, we'll promote this fella, our leader here. And then I think... Ooh, I can upgrade my monitors to 12. So let's go ahead and do that. And then, yeah, let's just build another... We'll build 10 levels of torpedo boats in Newfoundland, 5 each in Colombia and Oregon. And then for ironclads, we'll build an additional 5, 10, 15 levels. And that'll be fine. That'll get us a significant higher power projection. And that'll keep us well ahead of the French Republic. Now, how are we doing for tech? We're actually producing less innovation than we had been. So, we probably had bonuses for universities. So that's our next port of call then. And then I need to electrify the nation, actually. After that, I need to electrify the nation. So let's slow down a little bit here. Development. Universities. Newfoundland, we need 2. We'll go up to 2 in the Maritimes. Quebec and Ontario, we're at 5. Manitoba, we're at 5. Build 1 level each in our southern territories. 1 more level each in our northern territories, except for Northwest, where we've got 2 already. And then I think we'll build Alberta and Saskatchewan up to 5 each. And that'll get us a nice bit of overflow into tech spread, and that'll be very good. And then it's electrification time. I'm just going to kind of... Ooh, go to Nicole. I didn't realize about that. Actually, we got electrical plants in a lot of areas. Let's go ahead and grab our urban centers and go to electric streetlights. And we'll see what that does in terms of our power needs. So that should make our power plants productive at least. Let's just get building at least 1 level anywhere we don't have them. And then we'll build up levels in Quebec, Ontario. And we'll do a couple in Manitoba, 1 each more in Saskatchewan and Alberta, 2 more in northern Colombia, 1 each in the northern areas and the southern areas. And that should be fine. That should be fine for power plants for the time being. I may need to subsidize them, and that's fine. Maybe I was a little aggressive about building up the noof, but I think it's necessary. Oh, we're going to need more railways here. Oh boy. And by more railways, I mean we're going to need railways. Probably going to need government admins as well, but I'm not going to build those too soon because they cost a lot of money. Goodness. Well, I would say things are going great for Canada in 1893. We're electrifying the nation. We got powerful, productive industries. We got a huge economy, number 4 in the world. Yeah, we're still behind France. France is growing a little bit faster than we are, but you know, we're rolling. We're rolling. We're making money and all that good stuff. Our politics are very dependable. They're not the best they could be, but they're very dependable. Can I bring the armed forces into the government for extra legitimacy? Not really. I'm better where I currently am. And we got some overseas holdings, which are being very productive in terms of our economy. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. I think next time maybe we'll form ourselves a power block. Maybe we'll do a little bit more aggressive expansion in India as we build up more of our forces to make that happen. And who knows? We'll kind of see what's happening. I seem to be in a very virtuous cycle, cash flow wise, right now. So I'm feeling pretty confident, and we'll see if that confidence translates into increased ability to play the game. Anyway, that's all we've got time for tonight, my nerds. I have had fun. I hope you all have had fun, and I will see you on the other side.